when the news that China's J-10C fighter jet shot down Europe's most powerful Rafale with a Thunderbolt missile was confirmed by the Pentagon in a rare move. Is this 4.5-generation fighter jet tearing apart the century-old Iron Curtain of Western monopoly? From the Malaysian Air Show, where delegations from 20 countries have surrounded the aircraft, to the Saudi royal family's secret evaluation of the procurement program, the J-10C is not only a race for equipment, but also a deep competition on the reconstruction of international power. This metal collision that started in the skies of South Asia, whether it can really pry open the global map of military trade and open up a new westernization of armaments for the developing countries. Can this metal collision, which began in the skies of South Asia, really pry open the global arms trade map and open the way for developing countries to westernize their armaments? The victory of the J-10C is essentially a concentrated manifestation of China's military-industrial systemization capability. The PL-15E missile carried by the J-10C adopts the composite guidance mode of Gillian inertial guidance, Baidu navigation plus two-way data chain correction, plus active radar end guidance, which realizes the tactical innovation of a shooting and be guiding by cooperating with the fire control data provided by early warning aircraft. In this mode, the carrier does not need to open the fire control radar to launch the missile. Through the data chain real-time update of the target information, until the missile enters the last 20 kilometers when the bomb contains the source phased array radar, suddenly started to burn through the power to directly lock the target, so that the French Rafale fighter aircraft Spectre electronic warfare system is virtually null and void. Behind this technological breakthrough is China's comprehensive breakthroughs in satellite navigation, data chain communications and radar materials, and other basic areas, forming a bend and overtake of the traditional Western technology path. This systematic advantage in Pakistan's combat practice has been verified. ZDK-03 early warning aircraft to build the Air Information Network, and J-10CE, Dragon Block 3 to achieve seamless data chain. The overall combat efficiency by 40%. What is more noteworthy is that China's military industry has adopted the strategy of technology generation management. The export model PL-15E retains the technical standard of 10 years ago, forming a generation gap with its own model. Even if the missile wreckage is acquired by India, it is difficult to imitate effectively. This strategy not only guarantees technical security, but also creates market appeal through actual combat verification. The US abnormal recognition of the J-10C combat results, in fact, implies multiple calculations. By publicizing the information that F-16 did not participate in the war, the United States not only set aside the responsibility for the India-Pakistan conflict, but also took the opportunity to expose its ability to monitor Pakistan's military operations for a long time. LOMA implanted in the F-16 monitoring system can be tracked in real time, the location of the aircraft, the use of weapons status, and even through the technical security team directly stationed in the Pakistan Air Force Base to implement the physical control. The exposure of this monitoring network, forcing Pakistan to accelerate the debeutification process, plans to phase out all 73 F-16 before 2030, and instead build a J-10CE as the core, with the Red Flag 9P air defense system and Wing Dragon, -3 UAVs of pure Chinese combat system. The attitudes of international buyers have diverged significantly. Egypt put forward the Oil for Warplanes program, trying to offset 40 J-10CE orders with resources. Iran plans to replace the old F-14 fleet with J-10CE, but faces the risk of extension of EU sanctions. Turkey, although high-profile, claims that it is considering purchasing, actually intends to use it to suppress the price of the US-made F-16V, and its tradition of diplomacy of left and right makes the real purchasing willingness doubtful. More strategically, Saudi Arabia and the UAE have initiated an evaluation of the J-10CE for its economic value of only $45 million per unit, without the need to accept US-style political strings attached, reflecting a subtle shift in the Middle East's geopolitical landscape. Despite the widespread interest in the J-10C, its export still faces structural challenges. First, there is a demand mismatch. The model's specialization in air-to-air combat only applies to countries where there is a clear air threat. Myanmar has purchased 12 aircraft to deter regional rivals, and Bangladesh has purchased 16 to counterbalance pressure from India, making it difficult to create a scale effect for this type of special demand. Second, the Western equipment system has created strong inertia. Although Colombia has received a $40 million price preference from China, its existing logistics system is fully adapted to US-made equipment, and the conversion cost is up to hundreds of millions of dollars. Greece still chose the F-35 after the setback of the Rafale, highlighting the path dependence of the countries in the NATO system. More insidious competition from the US technology countermeasures and market harvesting. Loma urgently launched the F-16V upgrade package, the AIM-260 missile range, up to 180 kilometers. India, to fill the combat vacancy, spent $12 billion to introduce the F-15X production line, which carries the Legion infrared search and tracking system designed specifically for the PL-15's stealthy sudden defense characteristics. France's Dassault Aviation has launched the Rafale Block IV program to increase the range of its Meteor missiles to 200 kilometers, and is trying to rebuild its technological advantage by jointly developing an anti-jamming data chain with India. In the face of 300 potential orders, China's military-industrial system has shown unprecedented resilience. Changfei has adopted a pulsating production line to increase the annual production of J-10Cs to 50, and has set up regional maintenance centers in Egypt and Pakistan to compress the response time to failures to 24 hours. More critical is the implementation of customized solutions, providing Iran with a RMB settlement solution to avoid US dollar sanctions, designing a simplified version of the avionics system for Cambodia to lower the threshold of operation, and exploring the barter plus technology transfer model with Argentina, allowing it to offset part of the payment for the goods with agricultural products. This flexible strategy is reshaping the rules of international military trade. After Saudi Arabia purchased the Red Flag 9 air defense system, the US Patriot missile market share in the Middle East plummeted by 30%. The UAE obtained technology transfer through the joint development of the Winglong 3 unmanned aerial vehicle, and established a reconnaissance and strike system that is independent of the West. Pakistan's case is more exemplary. Through the systematic procurement of J-10C plus Lord Dragon Block 3 plus ZDK-03 AWACS, its air combat effectiveness has been increased to 1.7 times of that of the Indian Air Force. And the completeness of this Chinese program is attracting more small and medium-sized countries to give up piecemeal procurement and turn to the construction of an overall defense system. The shock wave triggered by J-10C is giving birth to a new generation of arms race. The US is accelerating its GAD 6th generation aircraft program, and its coordinated operations concept is directly targeting Chinese systematic warfare. Russia has launched the Su-57M export model, which strengthens anti-stealth and ultra-mobility, and China is testing the J-10D prototype, which integrates smart skin sensors and directed energy weaponry, expanding the dimensions of aerial warfare to the electromagnetic spectrum. In this race, the J-10C's symbolic significance extends beyond a single piece of equipment. It marks the first time that a non-Western technological path has been validated on the high-end battlefield, providing the Global South with a third option to break military dependence. As the roar of the WS-10C's engine resonates through the Persian Gulf, and the trajectory of the Thunderbolt 17 missile cuts across the Andes, a new order dominated by Chinese standards is taking shape. This change is not only reflected in the arms deal itself, but also has a profound impact on the international power structure. Egypt has exchanged the J-10C order for China's technical support in the construction of ports in the Red Sea. Turkey is trying to reconstruct the US-China-Russia triangular relationship with the purchase of warplanes as a bargaining chip, and Argentina has taken advantage of the negotiation of military purchases to promote the internationalization of the RMB settlement. In this big net woven by steel and data, J-10C is not only the pivot point to pry the pattern, but also the scale to measure the temperature of the times. Every takeoff of it is rewriting the narrative logic of the 21st century military revolution.